Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Well, hey, welcome to week 2 of Awareness is Key. I'm so excited to be here. I am your host, Valerie Arrington. I am a case manager or a former case manager, board member, and volunteer with the Safe Harbor Home. We have directly below me Daniel Velez on the panel tonight. He is the co-founder and CEO of the Safe Harbor Home.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for watching us tonight. We have some good news for everybody, and though we are going to be talking about some issues that are related to serious matters, but in the process, because we are trying to do some prevention, we have some good news for you. So we'll talk about it a little bit about it later on.
And right beside of me, we have Lily Gonzalez, who is Daniel's wife. She is co-founder of A Safe Harbor Home and the program director. And she is our technical whiz kid. So,
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining the conversation.
and right below Lily, we have Heather Williams, who is the community education coordinator. I hope I got that in the right
You got
order.
it. You got it.
A board member and volunteer with A Safe Harbor Home.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we're so excited. Everybody excited to be here tonight.
Yeah.
We are.
Yep.
We believe that through education and awareness will come prevention with domestic violence and dating violence or intimate partner violence. We want to talk for just a minute, though, about some of the things, and it's really exciting that's going on with A Safe Harbor Home. So I'm going to let Daniel touch on a couple of things, and then I believe Lily and Heather will have an update on some exciting stuff going on with the Katie Key project.
Yeah, pretty soon we are going to be moving our offices, which are in 319 East Sullivan Street. We're going to be moving them to 440 East Sullivan Street. So for those of you who are interested in going to our office or scheduling an appointment, just take note that this is going to be our new facility. On the other hand, we want to let everybody know that February is a teen dating violence awareness month. The president has just signed a proclamation stating about the teen dating violence, the teen dating violence awareness month. So this month, all around the nation, there's going to be a lot of events. There's going to be a lot of information going around, circulating. So be aware.
So, Daniel, really quick, you all have had an office down on Sullivan Street in Kingsport for a year and a half, maybe more?
Between a year and a half and 2 years.
Okay, so it's just moving into a different building just right up the road from that. If somebody needed services from you, what do you do in that building?
Okay, what they need to do is we hopefully are preparing to have walk-ins. They'll be welcome, but otherwise they can call to our phone number, which is 423-218-0774, and they can schedule an appointment with Lily. So anybody who is in need of housing and they cannot reach us for any reason, they can do it through phone. But if they are in the area of Kingsport, they can go and visit us. We're going to be open on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So the Tuesdays and Fridays we won't be there, but Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays we are going to have open doors for those who are in need of housing.
Perfect. And also for victims or survivors that need assistance, that are victims or survivors of domestic violence, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. So Heather and Lily, y'all been working really, really hard. I know the past couple of weeks, but especially this week, I think it's really been kicked into high gear.
Yeah.
Talk about what you're doing.
Well, Lily and I have spent a lot of time together this week working on the Katie Key project. And we talked last week about how we have been just revising and editing some of the language because the curriculum was originally done in 2009. So we finalized the curriculum and sent it off to the printers this week. And actually, I will be going to West Green High School here in Greene County, Tennessee, to teach the Katie Key project next week. So I'm really excited about that.
Lily, you have been working kind of hand in hand with the printers as well, right? Because
Yes.
while the Katie Key project has been around for many years, it's kind of gotten updated a little bit. And there's
Updated. Yes.
still plans to even take it further than where it's at right now.
Right.
Correct.
We're planning to put it up online. That'll be in the near future, more near than further out. But that's our plans.
Yep.
If anybody is not familiar with what we're talking about when we say the Katie Key project, please go back and watch last week's video where we do discuss the Katie Key project, but we also will be expanding on that information in the weeks to come as well. But just to kind of get familiar with a little bit of Katie Key's story, you can go back to the video from last week. So I do want to say if anybody might want to volunteer to help facilitate the Katie Key project, is that something that they can do?
That's a question that Heather can answer.
Okay. Yes, we will have an application up soon that they can fill out. It will be on our website, Lily. Is that where they will find the application? Or do they need to call us?
Yep, they'll have to call.
Okay.
Yes.
Just call a Safe Harbor Home and get the information. But yes, we are taking applications for facilitators for the Katie Key project locally right now.
Right,
And
but hopefully
training will be through Zoom.
Yes.
also if they maybe you'll see scrolling along the bottom of the screen is the phone number and email address for a Safe Harbor Home. So I'm sure if they wanted to send an email to get information,
Yes.
they can email you, Lily, at info@safeharborhome.org.
Definitely.
Perfect. All right. We want to say thank you for joining us at our table tonight. And if you don't know what that means, again, go back to last week's video. We are coming together around the table to have some serious discussions about domestic violence and intimate partner violence, dating violence, whatever you want to call that. So we want to make sure that we always put a trigger warning at the beginning of every video, because we are going to be discussing some topics that can be triggering. You will also see I love it. I absolutely love the intro videos. Make sure you do notice the scrolling across the bottom of the screen different times will all for the National Domestic Violence Hotline, as well as the Suicide Prevention Lifeline. So those are also posted in our not comment section, but description section on both YouTube and Facebook. All right. So I think first and foremost, and I really do believe that in order to bring awareness, you have to break it down to the very basics of domestic violence. Domestic violence is something that will affect every one of us. I have no doubt in my mind, in one way, shape, fashion, or form. Whether it be we experience it, our children experience it, a friend experiences it, in some way it's going to touch all of our lives. Do you all agree with that?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yes.
That's what we have seen through our experience working with these families.
Yeah. Um, so let's define domestic violence. I mean, I have a definition. Do y'all have a definition, or do you want me to read my definition?
Let's go ahead with your definition.
Sure.
All right. Domestic violence is a pattern of controlling behaviors that one party uses to get power over the other, including physical violence or threat of physical violence to get control. Emotional or mental abuse and sexual abuse are also included in that, but we're going to talk about in a little bit other forms of abuse that are also there. Do y'all want to add anything to that definition?
I think that the concept of the use of power and control by the perpetrator is an important thing to keep in mind, because that's what they pretend to do. They control the person, so they will go to any resort to do whatever they want to do.
Okay. Heather, you got anything to add to that?
I would just agree that the key words there are control, power, and control, but abuse is about control.
So when we're talking about that, that doesn't say that it has to be necessarily, I mean, it says that one partner uses. Do we see domestic violence any other ways other than just boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, boyfriend? Do we see domestic violence in other relationships like adult, child, and parent? Do we see it in any other roommates? That would be domestic violence, right? They
Yeah.
don't have to be in a relationship, in a romantic relationship, right?
Yes.
No, that's correct.
Yes.
Okay. So it can take on many forms. I mean, it doesn't, that's one thing. Domestic violence does not know boundaries or barriers, right?
No.
So, all right. The second definition that I did want to put out there is the intimate partner violence, or IPV, is abuse or aggression that occurs in a romantic relationship. There's your difference. It's domestic violence, but this is particularly in between someone in a romantic relationship. So, and that can refer to, intimate partner refers to both current and former spouses and dating spouses. So that is where the dating violence, and I think intimate partner violence was formerly known as dating violence. Is that correct? Is Daniel
Yes.
locked up?
I know he's locked it up. Technology.
Yeah. There you are. You're back.
Yep, we lost you for a while.
Project focuses on dating violence,
Yes.
intimate partner violence. I mean, because it seems like they're pretty interchangeable now. Is that correct? Okay. All right. So I think we have some statistics that I really wanted to share with everybody on domestic violence. So I think Lily has some slides that she's going to put up for us. And then Heather, do you want to start, or do you?
I can.
Okay.
Do you want me to go? Okay.
Yeah.
So on average, more than 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men in the U.S. will experience rape, physical violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner.
It affects men and women. It's not just a man. It's not just a issue that affects women. It knows no boundaries or barriers. 1 in 10 high school students has experienced physical violence from a partner in the last year.
An average of 24 people per minute are victims of rape, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner in the United States. More than 12 million women and men over the course of a single year.
1 in 4 women, or 24.3%, and 1 in 7 men, 13.8%, aged 18 and older in the U.S. have been the victim of severe physical violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Almost half of all women and men in the U.S. have experienced psychological aggression by an intimate partner in their lifetime, 48.4% and 48.8%, respectively.
One study found that children exposed to violence in the home were 15 times more likely to be physically and or sexually assaulted than the national average.
9.4% of high school students reported being hit, slapped, or physically hurt intentionally by their partner in the last 12 months.
Approximately 1 in 5 women and 1 in 7 men who experienced rape, physical violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner first experienced some form of partner violence between 11 and 17 years of age.
That's mind-blowing, isn't it?
It is.
1 in 10 high school students has experienced physical violence from a dating partner in the last year.
Nearly 1 in 3 college women, or 29%, say they've been in an abusive dating relationship. 1 in 3.
58% of college students say they don't know what to do to help someone who is a victim of dating abuse.
This is why programs like the Katie Key Project are so important. And that is also why that the age of the Katie Key Project, to the target ages, what are those again?
We are doing 12 through 21.
They're college age, I mean, if we want to hit them while they're young, but at least not hit them, you know what I mean, but at least giving them the opportunity, even as they get older, they're still learning, because 58% don't know what to do to help.
I know.
38% of college students say they don't know how to get help for themselves if they experience dating abuse as a victim.
Over half of all college students, 57%, say it's difficult to identify dating abuse. And again, that's where the education comes in.
Approximately 84% of victims are psychologically abused by their partners. Half are physically abused, and 1/3 experience sexual coercion.
The presence of a gun in domestic violence situation increases the risk of homicide for women by 500%. More than half of women killed by gun violence are killed by family members or intimate partners.
500%.
Mm-hmm.
And we just want to give credit to the National Domestic Violence Hotline website at thehotline.org for the statistics that we just shared. Daniel, what do you say to all of those statistics?
Well, it tells us about the seriousness of the problem and how far it goes. It goes from young people, age 12 and 11, statistics include 11 years old, up to the end of their lives. And then you have the issue that it crosses boundaries between male or female. It does, and it has no respect for race. It has no respect for age, uh, social position. It takes over, and it's really a problem that we as a society need to try to look, and beyond looking, do something about it. And that's what we're all about, doing something to first prevent the domestic violence in the future, but at the same time, we are providing services for those women or men who are in need of assistance and they're afraid of leaving the relationship for um, many reasons. I mean, there's not just one single reason why people don't want to leave an abusive relationship, and we'll be covering this information in some other programs. So just think about these statistics and you will start seeing the seriousness of the problem.
Right. Those numbers, you can't pick up a newspaper. You can't turn on the news on TV. It seems like there's violence everywhere. And how many of these, we just had this happen locally this week to one of my son's friends. You know, she lost her life. And the newspaper, of course, says it was a domestic disturbance. That one about the gun violence and about the 500%.
Yeah.
Now's the time to educate. This could be any of our daughters, our sons, our nephews, nieces, grandchildren.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be aware of this because there's warning signs that we can look for, not just the people in the relationship, but people outside of that relationship. There are warning signs that you can see, but you've got to know what they are.
Right.
So that's why programs like this are so important, in my opinion. But speaking about warning signs, Daniel, I know you have some warning signs. Are these specifically for the people in the relationship?
Yeah, these are intended for people who are not sure if they are in a domestic violence relationship. Um, it's important to understand that the home, the family is the safest place where you're supposed to feel at. And there are so many people who are being victimized with this problem, and some of them don't even have a clue where it's starting, because not everybody is at the same level of abuse. But it's important that you start as a person. If you believe that something is happening in your life that it's not right and you're suspicious about it, that you look at these signs, so you can start really trying to figure out what is it that you're going to do. And that's another thing that we're going to be dealing with at some point later, what to do when you're in a relationship like that. Keep yourself safe, but at the same time make an educated decision. So one of the things that you want to figure out is, does he embarrass you? He or she embarrass you, or make fun of you in front of your friends or family? Uh, do they put you down for your accomplishments? Do they make you feel like you are unable to make decisions? Use intimidation or threats to gain compliance. Tell you that you are nothing without them. Treat you roughly, grab, push, pinch, or shove you or hit you. Call you several times at night, or show up at places. Show up to make sure that you're in the place that you told them where you would be. Do they use drugs or alcohol as an excuse for saying harmful things, hurtful things, or abusing you, blame you for um, how they feel or act, pressure you sexually for things you aren't ready for, make you feel like there is no way out in a relationship, prevent you from doing things you want, like spending time with friends and family. One of the issues that happens here is that they try to take you away from your family, keep you away from your friends. They kind of kidnap you, in a subtle way that you don't realize that they're moving you away from everybody else. Do they try to keep you from leaving after a fight, or leave you somewhere after a fight to teach you a lesson? Uh, Maybe you argued in the car, and they got upset and they just stop the car and tell you to get out of the car and leave you anywhere without any worries about what could happen to you or anything like that. So these are a few of the things that you need to look at. If you are in a relationship and some of these things are happening and you're not sure uh, if this is domestic violence or what you need to do.
So if someone's not sure, Daniel, what should they do?
Okay. The first thing that they need to do is they need to talk to somebody who is knowledgeable about these issues. Sometimes it's not easy because if they are kept in the home and they're watching their phone and they're watching what they do, it makes it a little bit difficult. So you may try to find a friend that you can talk to that is close to you, and make sure that that conversation remains confidential. Be careful with that part because sometimes in trying to find out information or what to do, you may uncover yourself that you're doing that, and if the perpetrator feels that that's what you're doing, it's going to cause a big problem and it's going to get a little bit worse. So the best thing to do is start looking for these signs. And if too many of these signs are there, then you are going to need to figure out a way to call somebody. You can call us. Remember, a Safe Harbor Home is here to help you. We're not here to solve your problem, but we are here to make sure that you are safe and that when you make a decision, that decision is done intelligently and is systematically organized, that you won't be at high risk, because once you leave that home, the risk becomes very high, because the few days after you leave is when it becomes really dangerous for the victims. So just try to figure out which is the best way. And our phone number is 423-218-0774, and we're here to help you and to so you can make that decision uh, without much fear.
Heather, do you have anything to add to that list?
I know Daniel was talking about isolation, but something, a term I hear often now is love bombing, where things are moving really fast. They're constantly showering you right away with lots of gifts, and the spam calling, just nonstop calling and checking up on you, like Daniel said, demanding your passwords, wanting your passwords to your social media accounts, and wanting access to all of that. If your family and your friends are warning you about this person constantly, or I was trying to think what else. They want you just to be available to them at all times, or even if the anger or the threats are followed by gifts and pleas for forgiveness, and how much they love you, and those kinds of things. Jealousy, extreme jealousy.
Yeah. We're going to also be talking, and we'll explore more into it, but gaslighting is a huge,
Yes,
a
that's a
huge
good one.
and a huge warning sign, and it's a red flag.
Yeah.
My daughter was in a relationship when Daniel mentioned, just setting somebody out on the side of the road. My daughter was in a relationship with someone that did that to her, and I didn't know about it until, way later, way after the relationship. And I've worked with victims and survivors of domestic violence, and I had bad feelings about the guy. I really did. But, they hide it so well.
Yeah.
But she didn't come around that much. So the isolation, but of course, as a parent, you don't know if that is, they're in this relationship and they've just got other things going on, or if there's really some abuse going on.
Mm-hmm.
But the control part, I mean, people will use their pets against them.
Yep.
And basically say, if you leave, you're not taking your pet. And he did that to her as well.
Yeah.
So there is just a lot of warning signs. And we're just kind of, not even touching the tip of the iceberg,
Right.
really. This is just a very general overview for this episode of Awareness Key. But we will start exploring more of this as we go.
Yeah.
Lots of information. So Daniel, can you think of anything else that you would add to that warning? I know that was a pretty comprehensive red flag list.
Well, one of the things about the isolation is that the victims many times don't realize that they're being isolated,
Mm-hmm.
and because they want to solve the problem, because they love that person, they keep it to themselves. So it takes a long time many times for the friends and family to realize that there's something wrong, something is that is happening that they can't put their finger on, but that's important to realize. And for especially for family members who have realized that this is going on, the best thing to say is not, why don't you just get up and leave? It is not that simple. If it were that simple, we would see it happening more often. But we need to leave those doors open for when the victims are ready to talk, they can talk freely. And let's not be judgmental about what they are telling us, because it doesn't help. If we become too judgmental, they shut up, they don't talk anymore, and then it's hard to figure out how far deeper is that problem going. And it's, if we leave the door open, then we'll be able to figure out ways in which to help the victim, because they are in need of much help. And this is a problem that doesn't affect them just physically; it affects them emotionally and spiritually. So it's a serious problem.
I kind of think, how many times has someone said or someone given you the hints, not y'all, but in general, if it just a regular everyday person, that maybe something's going on, and they'll even say, I'm in a situation with someone that's mentally abusive. Okay, let's just use mental abuse. I mean, we know it's there. We know it's horrible. But how many people do not believe that person? Yeah. Oh, you're just over exaggerating. Or is it not better to err on the side of caution and believe than to not believe and be wrong?
And many times the perpetrators are really good actors. So when they go out and they're in public, they might be the sweetest person you can figure out, and they treat their victims like queens or kings, you know. So it's important to be realistic and be fair in the situation. Not because you see somebody arguing in their relationship, it means that it's an abusive relationship. Because every couple has times where they disagree on something, and it can be something menial for you as an observer. But keep these things in mind because they're important. They'll help to keep that healthy balance. And if you still are concerned, just keep an eye on what's going on and how it's going on, and that'll help very much. But again, do not start judging the person that you think it's a victim, because you really don't know what's going on, and it, they need a lot of support.
Yeah. Lots of things happen behind closed doors that we will never know.
Absolutely.
Well, and you don't really know you as much as you think you know someone, you really don't know what they're like behind closed doors. And like Daniel was saying, a lot of people are really charming and sweet, and the people in the community would never think that there was something like that going on at their home behind closed doors. But with going back to the emotional abuse, it's so easy to be dismissive when there's not physical violence involved, because I think most people, when they think about domestic violence, because it's in the word, you think about domestic violence, dating violence, and we use those words, you're thinking physical abuse. So a lot of people, I think it's easy for them to dismiss emotional, mental abuse, psychological abuse, the gaslighting, all of those things happening because you can't see what's happening. And then that's a problem. A lot of people are like, oh, it'll be okay. Oh, just work it through it. All of those things. It's so easy to just dismiss it.
Yeah. And that's actually the perfect kind of segue into what we're going to talk about next, which is the different types of domestic violence. So, Heather, I'm going to kind of toss it over to you. What are some of the ones, we'll kind of fill in some blanks, but
yeah,
the forms of domestic violence?
Well, you have your physical abuse, of course, which goes right there with it. You have psychological, emotional abuse. You have financial abuse, sexual abuse. What am I forgetting here? Spiritual. Yeah.
Verbal.
Verbal abuse.
Control. I mean, that goes with all of them, but
I was going to say abuse is definitely control all the way across the board. It's some form of control using one of those things.
We also have digital abuse, and that is social media, using that. And social media is used against victims all the time.
Yeah.
We're in that day and age. And then, of course, I think you've got stalking. That would fall to, which goes in with the control. Control is I think your number one common denominator, because isn't it's about control?
Yeah. That's what abuse is. And that's the thing to remember through all of this. Abuse is about control and power.
And talking about stalking, when the relationship has gone sour and the perpetrator is stalking the victim, that's when it starts to get really, really dangerous. So at that point, it's important that the victim starts making plans and being aware of their surroundings and what's going on, because you never know. It may just be just stalking from afar, but it may be the start of something, a plan that the perpetrator has to get access to that person.
Stalking came into play with Katie Key and that relationship, correct? That's the way it did escalate, was to that point, correct?
Yes.
And stalking, it was just a matter of
it was just a matter of opportunity. He was just waiting for opportunity to catch her alone.
Yeah, well, one thing that comes to mind right now is when people, uh, perpetrators, when they say "I love you to death," beware because it may be true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've actually been going on to YouTube, and you do a search for domestic violence and it pulls up these short videos, and some of them will literally just, they're eye openers. So even when people aren't watching lives like ours, there's a lot of information on the web. There's a lot of information on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, or YouTube. TikTok even has videos educating people on the topic of domestic violence. And I know, Heather, you sent a couple of those, and they were really good videos.
Mm-hmm.
Why is education, I've said it because we believe that awareness, education awareness will lead to prevention. But in y'all's opinion, why do you feel like educating everybody, not just somebody that's potentially sitting there as a victim, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody, why is it so important?
Well, you have the potential to be a victim. You have the potential to come in contact with a victim and need to know how to help that person. If you don't know the signs, you're not going to recognize what's going on with them. You may not recognize what's going on in your life. Plus, in public places like schools and teachers, and they need to know how to deal with this. So if everybody is educated, then everybody has a chance to either step in and help somebody, direct somebody to where they can get help, or to at least be aware for themselves, hey, this is a red flag, they're crossing my boundaries, and all of these things to hopefully minimize the victims.
Uh, I mean, if you have a job out in the community, there's a,
Hmm.
you're going to come into contact with someone that may come to you needing help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any kind of public job. Daniel, what do you think?
Well, thinking about teens, teens are very hard to reach by adults,
Hmm.
um, but they are very vocal amongst them. They share their secrets. They talk about so many things, and it is important that, um, once we know or we get in touch with somebody who's sharing an experience like that with us, that we know what to do,
Hmm.
because that's a big challenge. What do I say, what do I do to a person that is going through this, that I can really support them, instead of judging them, that I can really support them, that I can tell them, okay, let me see what I can find to be able to help you, or maybe we can go talk to somebody. But there are so many ways in which, once the victim has said what they're going through, that the rest of the community, be it family, friends, whoever it is, it may be in church, a kid may be going through problems, and she shares with another teenager, and they don't know what to do, and they go for help, but it happens that the person that they go to doesn't know what to do either. uh,
Hmm.
they need to start looking for places where they can get the support and the comfort and be safe. Safety is the key issue here. When we're talking about dating violence or domestic violence, safety in terms of trying to prevent issues is the most important factor here, because just
He
Uh,
froze.
so a good sentence. At least he has a smile.
a person who's out there. Yeah, it's important. Basically, it's important for the people who are out there who are trying to figure out and help somebody who's a victim, that they understand and know exactly what they need to do. And if not, just just watch us and go through the internet, go to YouTube, find information, do your research, and there's going to be a big difference.
Awesome. All right. Well, I don't see any questions in chat. Of course, I can't see how many people are in here, but we know we're going to have people that will watch on replay. You know, if you do watch on replay, please let us know you're watching it on replay, and also let us know where you're watching from. I really think that I want to see how far this is going, you know, and how many different areas that we can touch. Closing thoughts. And what do you all, unless you all have something else, let's, you know, we can kind of go into our closing thoughts on this week. Next week, I will go ahead and let everyone know we're going to start breaking down the different forms of domestic violence and intimate partner violence. And I think we're going to start with, you know, the most obvious one, and that's going to be physical violence. So that would be something that we will do next Thursday at 7 o'clock. But let's have some closing thoughts real quick.
Well, let's say that keep in mind that there are so many dimensions to domestic violence that we have lots of information to share with you, but we are not going to just dump all the information at once with you. So we're going to be talking about different aspects in dating violence and domestic violence, so you can learn the issues. If you're a victim, that you can look the safest way to come out of the relationship if that is what you want. And if you're a friend of a victim, that you know what to do. If you're a teenager and you have friends who are going through these issues and they are not sure, and the younger the victim, the most innocent that they are about these things. So if you have teenagers who are friends of yours and you're watching this today, just invite them to watch and to learn, and that may help somebody who is starting to get in a relationship, and they learn how to protect themselves and see the warning signs for the future. So there's so much we need to cover. We hope that we can just reach as much people as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Heather, you got some closing thoughts?
Just short and sweet. Thank you all for joining us. I'm glad we have this time to just start shedding some light on this huge issue and to hopefully start educating, and just stick with us as we break things down and just give you more information each week. And we're thankful for you being here.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to put out there that, you know, there is help out there for anyone that does feel like that they're in a domestic violence or intimate partner violence situation. There is the National Domestic Violence Hotline, which the number is posted, as I said, in our descriptions on both Facebook and YouTube, and it's scrolling along the bottom of the screen right now. You can also, if you have questions, reach out to Lily and Daniel at 423-218-0774. If you can't make a phone call, if all you can do is email, you can email them at info@asafeharborhome.org. I do also want to encourage everybody to go check out their website, which is asafeharborhome.org. There you can learn about the services they offer. There's more information, I believe, about the Katie Key project there. And also there are ways that you can help, whether it be through volunteering. They're always looking for volunteers if you are in the 8 counties of Northeast Tennessee or the surrounding counties from that. But that's the counties that they cover. That doesn't mean we can't help someone that does not live here. We can provide resources. We can help somebody find the answers, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Yep.
But also, if you want to support a Safe Harbor Home, this is not about asking donations, but if anybody does want to help support financially, there is an option on that website. All of their funding that they receive goes right back into their programs. Is that correct, Daniel?
Absolutely. And we must say that we don't have a big grant to cover our program, but we do a lot with it because we are very careful about how we spend the money and how we help the people that really need help. So any donation of any kind will be really appreciated.
Absolutely. You know, we hope that you'll come back next Thursday at 7 o'clock. We are broadcasting to both Facebook and to YouTube. Please, if you have not subscribed to their YouTube channel yet, it is a Safe Harbor Home over on YouTube. Go over there and subscribe and click the little bell so you'll be notified when we do go live or post new content. Also, make sure to like a Safe Harbor Home on Facebook, and I believe, was it Twitter, Instagram? Instagram, I believe. A Safe Harbor Home on Instagram as well. So we do hope to see you next Thursday at 7 o'clock. And we will be starting to break down the different forms of domestic violence, starting with physical violence next Thursday. If anybody got anything else?
Nope.
See you next Thursday.
See you next week.
Thank you, everybody. See you all next
Bye.
week.